Nick Gallo, OKC Thunder.com. Mark, just the joy you see from the guys' faces, that moment that the shot drops and there's nothing left on the clock.
Yeah, it's awesome. Competition, it's joyous, it's heartache. That's what happens when you pour yourself into it. I thought our team poured ourselves into the game tonight. It was a really good game. Both teams, I thought they played really well, really tested us. And obviously we were able to come out on top, but I thought, 1 through however many guys played, 11, really impressive effort, and all the way through to 48, good execution down the stretch. So it was good.
Shea had some nice perspective after Wednesday, just kind of not trying to ride the highs or be too down during the lows when you get a gut punch like you did Wednesday. Presence of mind he had and the ability to bounce back. Just your thoughts on him being able to deliver once again late.
Yeah, I mean, it's an NBA skill, to be able to be fully present and invested in the competition. And when you do that, it becomes very emotional. The outcome becomes very emotional because you're really trying to compete to win and you're playing the scoreboard. And so if you don't do that, you're apathetic. But then once you do that and the game ends, you need to be able to live in that emotion for the rest of that night. And then the next day you got to be able to, move forward and learn. And I was impressed. I've been impressed by this team all season in our ability to do that. There's been obviously highs and lows in the year, as there is for everybody. But, tomorrow morning, I'm pretty confident that we're going to come in and just get back to improvement on the court and in the film room. And that's been a strength of this team. And that's a gift that keeps on giving.
Pierce Lawson, OKCThunder.com. Wanted to ask you about the execution late in the final 30 seconds there after Batum made that 3-pointer.
Yeah.
Coming off of that Wednesday game, you talked about the execution late in that game by your group. Just what did you think, back-to-back games now where you've had to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great example of what I just said, which is that game, obviously they bombed a shot in to beat us that night. And there's heartache associated with that, especially when you pour everything into the game. But as I said after the game the other night, I thought we, executed to a T situationally late in that game and gave ourselves every chance to force overtime. And obviously it didn't happen. I thought tonight, we learned, lost the game, learned those lessons in practice, covered that, what we did well there. And then tonight, all the way through, I thought, the quick 2 by Lou, the quick 2 by Shea off the free throw play, the situational traps, not fouling right away. That was huge at the end there. Jackson's their best free throw shooter. The presence of mind to trap, after the quick 2, force him to pass, get a weaker free throw shooter with the ball. Now that gives us, he missed 2 free throws there. And then that was a game winning shot instead of game tying shot. So, it's a good example of the team just learning the lessons and applying them forward. And you can't do that if you're dragging your emotions into the next day. And then, like I said, that's been a strength of the team.
Andrew Schlecht of The Athletic. How aware were you guys that Josh was 2 points away from a triple-double?
I was aware when Matt Tumbleson just told me after the game.
He was, okay.
Skittles.
Skittles, yeah.
That's Skittles.
It is definitely Skittles. It seemed like he was pressing to me a little bit to get those points. I mean, he'd be the youngest player in NBA history if he'd have gotten it today. Did you have any sense of that on the bench?
No. I mean, if he makes mistakes, I just chalk it up to mistakes, but I didn't sense him pressing. And if he was, he needs to not be pressing over a triple double. He needs to get lost in the game and then let that happen. If he does that, it'll happen eventually. And
did you have thoughts on the starting lineup and how that crew worked together?
Yeah, I thought Wiggins was good again. I didn't think anybody did anything tonight that was outside of the norm. I think Wiggins just continues to just play, regardless of circumstance. I thought Robinson Earl played his best game in a while. Especially on the glass. He's really struggled against bigger guys. Zubac's a really tough matchup on the boards. He did a great job tonight being reinserted in the starting lineup. I thought Baisley played really well, which was not a departure from how he's played all season, but he did a hell of a job on Jackson in the second unit and gave us really quality minutes, played some minutes at the 5 there, which was something we thought about going into the game. I thought Trey Mann's minutes were really good. And I thought 1 through 11, the guys did the job tonight. But yeah, I was impressed with Wiggins again. He continues to just, pass the tests.
Joe Masato, the Oklahoman. Mark, can you just walk us through the setup of that final play there?
Yeah, we ran it against somebody. We've run it before. So we work on those in practice. All the plays we run in those situations are kind of in the pocket, and the guys know the timing of them and stuff like that. And then we just kind of, pick off the menu when we get to those situations. But really good job, all the way through. Cameron Williams, hard cut, because when a team's switching like that, you want to try to make the guy late switching on a Muscala so Muscala can get the catch. Good delivery by Josh without any timeouts. Great break by Mike to get the catch. Good timing by Shea. Great cut by Lou. Forced the switch. So it takes a lot of ingredients just to get that advantage, to get the ball in, to get the switch onto Shea. So when you unpack the shot, and you trace the breadcrumbs back, it's all these little details that the guys, we've worked on, and the guys did a really good job executing in a pressure situation.
Is that set up to get Shea that three, or just to get him in space and create?
No, I mean, it's at the end of the game, they obviously know, they're going to key on him. And so it becomes a game of, there's times to go away from him. The play they fouled Muscala on to give the foul was designed for Lou. At end of the Lakers game, we went to Giddey for 2 for 1. We want to establish other threats so that, teams aren't just loaded up on one guy at the end of the game. It just makes it harder for him to get loose. But one thing that we've explored in the flow of the game and at the end of the game certainly is using him as a screener. And on that play, he's back screening for Dort, and Dort's going to the rim. So if you don't want to switch that, you might give up a layup, so it really forces the switch. Whereas teams have more solutions for when he has the ball and you're running guys up there and you're trying to get switches that way. So, but not designed for a three, just designed for an advantage. And, he made a really good read. Batum took the initial cut away. Mike made a good play, and then he obviously shook the guy.
And then with Lou, he seemed to just be attacking all night. The physicality we've always seen from him on defense, are you seeing him use that offensively now?
Yeah, it's a good observation. I mean, especially on the finishing, that was a point of, attention at the end of last year. He was one of the poorest finishers at his position in the league. And to his credit, he got to work and really has improved that. He had a hell of a left-hand finish tonight. But yeah, I mean, he's moving guys off him. He's starting to understand. I think sometimes last year and the year before, he was kind of playing too fast when he's driving there. And when you're built like that, you don't necessarily need to gain leverage with just speed. You can gain leverage with physicality and with angles and strength. And he's really learning that. But yeah, I mean, he was impressive again.
We got Steven back. Go ahead, Brandon. You got it.
Brandon Rabar, Daily Thunder. Mark, after the last game against the Pelicans, you said the locker room, you kind of described it as stung. How'd you describe the locker room tonight after this win?
I mean, the opposite, and that's my thing, it's the fulfillment of competition, like I've said this before, but when you're with a group of people and you have heightened experiences like that, it forms a bond regardless of what heightened experience it is. So, when we lose like we did the other night, we do that together. And when you're with a group of people, that's a fulfilling group of people, which we want to have, environmentally here. You can strengthen your bond as a group through the grief of that game, and then the opposite end of the spectrums tonight, you strengthen your bond as a group. It's a shared experience that we can all enjoy together. And so it was the opposite, which is fun to see. And when they invest that much, and, we've put ourselves in these positions before and haven't broken through every game. So when we break through, I'm happy to see them enjoy it.
Steve McGee, News 9, Poku, 10 points in 9 minutes of play.
He was good. Yeah, really good. And I thought it was I didn't think in his first blue game he was great. Just from a force standpoint, I thought he was a little floaty out there. And then last night he made a good adjustment. He was much sharper last night in that game. And I thought that carried over tonight. And then I just continue to point out what a valuable developmental platform that is. I mean, we're literally, miles ahead of the rest of the league in terms of total minutes played for our players. Including G League minutes. Our 17 guys have played more minutes this season than any other team in the NBA. So like I've said before, that's a cheat code, that program. And when we send guys there, it's not a demotion. They go there with an assignment, and it truly is an assignment. They are there for a specific reason and to widen their reps, in the things that they're working on. And that's just another little micro example, Poku, where he wasn't great the first Blue game, got his feet underneath him last night, and then went in the game tonight and played really well. You know, probably earned more than 10 minutes tonight. We obviously went different ways down the stretch, but you know, I was really impressed by how he carried that over on a back-to-back. I mean, those guys, him and Trey, were on a back-to-back tonight, and Wiggins. So.
Two on the Zoom. Start with Myron Pat. Go ahead with the question, Myron.
Looked like you guys were able to get some fast break points off made baskets, and you were really pushing the pace, getting people behind them. Is that something you thought you could do in the game, or just develop as the game went on?
I mean, something we're trying to do a little more of, you know, like I've mentioned before the game tonight, you know, our missed basket offense is an area where we can really improve. We're leaving a lot of low hanging fruit out there in that area of the game. And it's been a huge emphasis for us recently. And I thought we did a really good job of getting out and running. And I thought our guards did a really good job of pitching it ahead. I thought a lot of Giddey's assists tonight were on those plays. And it's really valuable, you know, any game, but certainly in a game like that, where you can steal some points on cuts, offensive rebounds, and like cheap ones in transition, but you got to give effort to get all those things done. And I thought our guys gave great effort on offense tonight.
One more. I'm sorry.
You're good, man.
One more. You started 3 rookies tonight, and even when you went to the bench, Trey Mann, another rookie coming in for Giddey. When you start that many young guys, is it basically the game plan's the same? Doesn't matter in terms of just experience or anything like that? Because, I mean, a couple of you guys have played Giddey. You know, he's played a lot, even as a rookie, JRE. But Wiggins I think he's got a couple starts for you. But is the game plan the same no matter who's starting for you?
Yeah, I mean, we have and look, Shea and Lou aren't, you know, tenured professors either. You know, I think the thing I'll say is there's a positive expectancy that we have with our players, and we don't treat them differently according to their age, you know, in any way. You know, we don't treat them any less respectfully than we do Mike Muscala or Favors. And we don't, you know, lower the bar because they're young. You know, I think if you want to speed up the developmental process, the way you do it is you have high standards and you have an environment of high standards, and then everybody dwells inside of that regardless of their age or experience level. And I hope those guys are benefiting from that, but the bar doesn't get lowered based on, you know, otherwise it's like, when do you raise it? You know, game 20, game 50, year 2, you know, like the bar is what it is. And it's based on what the game requires and what competition requires in the NBA. And so those guys are doing a good job of chasing that down. None of them are perfect, but you know, they're doing a nice job right now.
We'll go last one to Christos Saltis. Go ahead, Christos, your question.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win, first of all.
Thank you.
After a tough loss against the Pelicans, we bounced back tonight with a huge win against the Clippers. Can you speak about the turnaround ability of your players into those situations?
Yeah, like I've said, you know, I think it's a NBA skill to get lost in the competition and be fully invested and pour all of your emotion into the game. And then to be able to detach from it. It's hard to like turn that switch on and off 82 times. That's a strength of this team. And it's something that environmentally we really prioritize organizationally and inside the program. And the guys have done a nice job of embracing that. And I think when you do embrace that, it allows you to turn around. This isn't the first time we had the ugly game in Memphis, and then we turned around the next night and, you know, got ourselves back on track there. And so, you know, that's an NBA skill, and it's one that we work on, and it's one that we talk about. And the guys, like I said, are doing a really good job with that.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Got players next, everybody. Players next.